Welcome back to Building Character, where we figure out how to play as your favorite fictional characters in Dungeons & Dragons. Remember to vote in the poll and like and subscribe for more heart next time you play. Maybe. Today we're building Yugi from the Yu-Gi-Oh series, which basically means we're learning not only how to play a character inside a character, but a game within a game. If that sounds confusing, trust me, we're just getting started.
It's time to
Duel time to duel time to duel.
time to duel!
Let's start off with our goals for this build. First, we need some monsters, which we can duel. It's duel o'clock after all. Next, we need the Heart of the Cards, which is a fun way to describe sheer dumb luck. Finally, we need a noble spirit that can take over when things get serious. For stats, we'll be using the standard point array from the player's handbook. Roll for stats if you want, but if your charisma isn't high, you're gonna have a bad time. I'm specifically referring to the game, but that also kind of applies to real life. Charisma will be number 1. Yugi is a sweet and charming boy, and Atem is a figurehead, so either way, people like you. Intelligence after that, Yugi has a pretty good idea of what each card does, and if cards are spells, that means high arcana. Constitution next, we'll be doing a lot of summoning and can't have our life points dipping below the standard. Follow that up with wisdom. It's important to be able to read your opponent. Why did Kaiba just put that trap card face down and end his turn? Seems suspicious. Dexterity is a little low. Your armor isn't heavy. You actually don't have any. This is a bit of a problem, but it's not like Yugi is doing backflips. We'll dump strength. You only have to lift a small rectangle of paper and I guess wear some slightly cumbersome wristbands, but they make them for children, so I think you're fine. For race, Yugi is a human, but a halfling would have some extra natural luck, or a Kalishtar could give you that ancient possession flavor, but variant humans can start off luckier than any other race with the lucky feat. This gives you 3 luck die you can use to reroll an attack roll, saving throw, or ability check, or impose disadvantage on an enemy attacking you. Honestly though, you'll be luckier if you're using a deck that just doesn't have any bad cards. Bump your constitution and your charisma with your 2 free points, grab the insight skill to read your opponent's poker face. Sorry, I had a couple ideas for the intro, so I'll be using those jokes later in the video. Take the noble background for the history and persuasion proficiency. I know that Yugi isn't a noble, but Atem is, and you two are pretty connected. Speaking of Atem, you get possessed by an ancient spirit that makes you better at cards, and if that's not a warlock, I don't know what is. First level warlocks can grab 2 skills from the warlock list. I'd go for Arcana and Religion. Technically there isn't a Pharaoh Pact, but there is a Noble Genie Pact thanks to the new Unearthed Arcana that I hope is made official in Xanathar's 2 Electric Xanadu. You pick an object to hold your genie in. I'm thinking a pyramid keychain, and when you're holding it, you can tether another creature to it for an hour. The tether is 100 feet long and lasts until you make another tether or the creature you're tethered to dies. While you've got this going, you get a bonus to your perception checks equal to your charisma modifier, and you can fire spells from the space of the creature that the tether is connected to. If it's not clear why that's perfect for you, don't worry, I'll explain it once this build actually starts coming together in 2 levels. First level warlocks get 1 cantrip of their choice because Eldritch Blast is required. It's a ranged spell attack that deals 1d10 force damage and will eventually become a blast from the Dark Magician. Again, this build starts really coming together at level 3. But Chill Touch is also fun. It's a ranged spell attack that deals 1d8 necrotic damage and prevents the target from healing until the start of your next turn if you think your enemy has some way to restore that LP. For spells, you need to understand Egyptian, which I guess I could just say is a language you know, but just in case, grab Comprehend Languages to understand all written and spoken languages for an hour. If you want to use a trap card, Hellish Rebuke is perfect. Force a dexterity save of 8 plus your proficiency bonus and charisma modifier on a creature that hits you with an attack. Failing that, they take 2d10 fire damage or half as much on a success. Second level warlocks can grab some invocations, which are like mini feats that only warlocks can grab. They aren't as good as feats, but you get a lot more of them. Agonizing Blast will make your Eldritch Blast better, letting you add your charisma modifier to the damage of its attacks. Eventually this will be Dark Magician's Blast. Make sure it's pretty good. The Mask of Many Faces lets you cast Disguise Self at will, which changes your appearance for an hour, no concentration required, though people can see through it with an investigation check against your spell DC. Honestly though, how different do you and Pharaoh look anyway? I always thought he got taller, but in my research for this build, I found out nope, same height, just slightly different hair and a permanent scowl. For this level spell, Protection from Evil and Good gives a creature of your choice protection from aberrations, celestials, elementals, fiends, fae, and undead, meaning those creatures have disadvantage on attack rolls against that creature and are unable to charm, possess, or frighten them for up to 10 minutes depending on your concentration. That covers a huge amount of cards and should keep your cards safe, even though you don't currently have any monster cards. But you can at the 3rd level of Warlock. Back to the Chain lets you cast the Find Familiar spell, letting you summon a tiny animal that can cast touch range spells, but since you're a Warlock, you can also summon a pseudo-dragon, a pixie, an imp, or a quasit. Even better, with your genie tether, you aren't limited to casting touch range spells through them as long as you have your tether on that familiar, so you can send them out and use them as your own personal Eldritch Blast cannon. Congrats Congratulations, you now have a dual monster. For a more powerful attack, Phantasmal Force from the Genie spell list forces an intelligence saving throw on a creature. Failing that, they see an illusion they perceive to be real in a 10-foot cube. If you make it something that can hurt them, it can deal 1d6 psychic damage to the target every round they end their turn within 5 feet of it, and it hangs out for up to a minute depending on your concentration. This is a great way to keep your familiar safe while you're shooting beams out of it. Summon some second monster through Phantasmal Force that stands in front of the familiar. Unless you're fighting multiple people, then, well, it's probably not going to work then. 4th level Warlocks get an ability score improvement. Bump your charisma here for harder to avoid spell saves and more powerful Dark Magician blasts. For this level spell, Mirror Image can help you keep your life points up. You create 3 illusory duplicates of yourself. When someone tries to hit you, roll a d20. When you have 3 duplicates, they hit 1 if you roll a 6 or higher, 8 or higher for 2 duplicates, or 11 or higher for 1 duplicate. It lasts for up to a minute, no concentration required. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know every card in Duel Monsters, but I'm guessing there's one that messes with accuracy. And since it's helpful, I know it's in Yugi's deck. 5th level Warlocks get another invocation. I'd go for Eyes of the Runekeeper, letting you read all writing and letting you ignore cast and comprehend languages with one of your 2 spell slots per short rest. That's helpful. You can also learn 3rd level spells. Summon Lesser Demon has you roll a d6 to determine whether you summon 2 demons of challenge rating 1 or lower, 4 demons of challenge rating 1/2 or lower, or 8 demons of challenge rating 1/4 or lower. The DM chooses what types of demons show up, which you can chalk up to the heart of the cards, but pro tip to any conjuring player from DM2Lock: if you show up knowing what monsters you want to summon that are within the level of the spell and what they do, I will absolutely let you pick. Scanning through a list of demons in the monster manual to find something that fits the spell requirement can really break a session's momentum. Hell, I'll even give you a D8 inspiration if you got the cards prepared. Again, put a tether on one of these, and you can shoot your Eldritch Blast through it. Now with 2 beams, you can fire at 1 or multiple targets. 6th level Genie Warlocks get Elemental Resistance, giving you and anyone connected to your tether resistance to acid, cold, fire, or lightning damage, with the ability to swap this out on a long rest. Compare that to Fiendish Resilience, the 10th level ability for Fiendlocks, which only works on the Warlock, not also a buddy. Of course, Fiendlocks can choose any damage type and switch it on short rests, but I'd happily give up the flexibility for the benefit of sharing it with someone we've summoned. Or Joey. Poor Joey. He's too pure for this world. For this level spell, Counter Spell shuts down a spell of 3rd level or lower automatically as a reaction, and can shut down higher level spells with a charisma check of 10 plus the spell's level. Control decks are fun, right? I don't play a lot of card games. 7th level Warlocks get another invocation. Repelling Blast lets you push creatures back 10 feet when you hit them with one of your Eldritch Blast beams. There's no limit to this, unlike the inverse Grasp of Hadar, letting Dark Magician really smack people around. But Dark Magician is no lesser demon, so Summon Greater Demon lets you conjure a demon of challenge rating 5 or lower. They make a charisma save at the end of each of their turns so they can disobey your commands. They'll also ignore you if you lose concentration, but they'll hang out and attack any non-demon for 1d6 rounds or until it loses its hit points. This lets you get a much better monster on the field to use your tether with. 8th level Warlocks get an ability score improvement we can use to cap off our charisma. Your cards shouldn't be disobeying you. That's not how Duel Monsters works. For this level spell, Phantasmal Killer from the Genie list forces a Wisdom saving throw on a creature. Failing that, they're frightened and take 4d10 psychic damage every time they fail. It does this with an illusion of their worst fear, so maybe they're afraid of magicians. It lasts for up to an hour depending on your concentration. 9th level Warlocks can learn 5th level spells. Infernal Calling summons a devil of challenge rating 6 or lower. It doesn't want to obey you, but will if you can make a charisma check against its insight check. If it ever passes, it will just ignore you, though you can make it seem like an action is worth its while, or it will make you eviler. Maybe sacrifice one of your party members to it. Sorry, I mean monsters. If you have the Talisman of the Devil, it will automatically obey you. I would say a playing card could be a talisman if your DM wants to lean into your card-carrying Warlock aesthetic. If you want to summon something a little less chaotic, Minions of Chaos lets you cast Conjure Elemental once per long rest with a Warlock slot, summoning an elemental of challenge rating 5 or less that hangs out for an hour depending on your concentration, but doesn't disappear if you drop concentration, just doing whatever it wants for an hour. This can kind of let you summon 2 things at the same time. Just stay away from the elemental and hope that the other things you're fighting are dumb enough to keep attacking it while you conjure something else. Multiple monsters is usually a pretty good strategy. 10th level Genie Warlocks get Protective Wish, letting you use your reaction to swap places with your tethered buddy as a reaction when one of you gets hit by an attack. If something is going right for your life points, get out of there. You also get Genie's Entertainment, letting you banish someone for the Pharaoh to hang out with if they fail a charisma save. They'll be there for a minute or until they can make the save, but if they're gone for the full duration, you can use this again without needing to take a long rest. Pretty nice. 11th level Warlocks get Mystic Arcanum for one 6th level spell slot per long rest, rather than per short rest like your other Warlock Warlock spells, and boy, do you think we have enough Conjuration, because I sure don't. Conjure Fae lets you summon a Fae of challenge rating 6 or lower and follows the same rules as a conjured elemental. So if you're not standing next to them, you could get 3 monsters up at the same time. But you just won't be able to control 2 of them. Not really how dual monsters works, but it's the best we're gonna get. 12th level Warlocks get another ability score improvement. Bump up your Constitution. We really need our concentration high so our deck doesn't attack us. And really, you've got over 8,000 life points at the start of each battle, so we should probably try and get as much HP as possible. It's obviously a 1-for-1 conversion. You also get another Eldritch Invocation, and Armor of Shadows will make you a little harder to hit, letting you cast Mage Armor at will for AC equal to 13 plus your Dexterity modifier. What is your Dexterity modifier, by the way? Oh, never mind, it's good. Don't look at it. 13th level Warlocks get a 7th level Arcanum slot. We'll use it for Plane Shift, which lets you make a melee spell attack against a creature that then has to make a Charisma saving throw. Failing that, they get sent to a plane of your choice, and it's their job to get back, letting you straight up send someone to the Shadow Realm, or Shadowfell. You could also bring up to 8 friends to a plane of your choice for a fun field trip. Up to you. 14th level Genie Warlocks get Collector's Call, letting you make a Persuasion check against your own spell DC. If you succeed, your Pharaoh buddy will help you out in a pretty major way. You can have them heal a creature within 60 feet of you, 8d6 HP, and cure an effective blindness, charm, deafness, frightening, paralyzation, or poisoning. You could give a creature of your choice disadvantage on attack rolls and saving throws, or just cast Legend Lore without material components. Whether or not you're successful, you have to wait until you take a long rest before you can do it again, unless you bribe them with a present worth 500 gold or more, which honestly is kind of sad, but I guess every competitive strategy game eventually becomes pay to win. 15th level Warlocks get an 8th level Arcanum slot. Glibness pairs really well with your Infernal Calling, meaning that you can't roll lower than a 15 on the die with a Charisma check. This is before adding your capped Charisma modifier and proficiency bonus with Persuasion, so the devil needs to roll a 25 Insight check to ignore you. This lasts for an hour, so you'll have full control over the devil for that amount of time, which solves the issue of you not being able to control your cards. Well, for one type of monster at least. You also get another invocation. Eldritch Sight lets you cast Detect Magic at will to sense magical auras and what type of magic is causing them. The best duelists don't just know what's in their hands, they know what's in their opponent's hands. And you are the best duelist. 16th level Warlocks get another ability score improvement. More Constitution. We're going for 8,000 HP. It's not because I'm power building. Definitely not. 17th level Warlocks get a 9th level Arcanum slot, and the best card in your deck isn't a card. It's the ability to pull whatever card you need at the right moment. The Foresight spell gives a target you touch advantage on ability checks, attack rolls, and saving throws, and creatures attacking you have disadvantage. I switched the pronouns up to you because obviously you should use it on yourself. Offensively, this gives you advantage on all Eldritch Blast attacks, which you shoot 4 beams of per round now, making Dark Magician the top tier card you always knew he was. 18th level Warlocks get our last invocation, which sight will let you know if an enemy has something more up their sleeve, automatically revealing the true shape of any shapeshifter or disguised creature. You're not falling for any trap cards, you're putting the trap cards down. 19th level Warlocks get our last ability score improvement, but we're going to cash that in for the Warcaster feat. This gives you advantage on concentration saves and the ability to cast spells as opportunity attacks as long as they target one person, which is busted with Eldritch Blast. As long as all 4 beams target the same creature, you can deal 4d10 plus 20 damage as a reaction. With Foresight up, you'll have advantage on all of those, meaning 8 chances to crit. Oh my goodness, it's so good, it's so good. Wait, how is this in character? Trap cards? Trap cards! Our capstone is the first level of fighter, so we can get the dueling fighting style. Get it? Dueling? Just kidding. 20th level Warlocks get Eldritch Master, letting you spend a minute begging your patron for more spell slots, which they'll oblige because really, they're just happy you called them. This effectively doubles the amount of spells you have per short rest from 4 to 8. You can't beg them twice per long rest though, but 8 monster cards seems to be about right for a duel. Now that we've hit level 20, let's figure out how viable this build is. First, Genie Warlocks are the best summoners, getting to use their conjurations as cannons for their Eldritch Blast, giving them extra resistances, and swapping places with them if either of you get into trouble. Speaking of, Eldritch Blast paired with Agonizing Blast basically gives you the DPS of a fighter, but better because the damage is magical and you can cast spells like Foresight to give yourself advantage on every attack roll, and thanks to Warcaster, you basically make 4 opportunity attacks instead of 1. Finally, Warlock Charisma is pretty awesome. awesome. Pairing it with the glibness spell is even better, making you a wonderful face for your party. For weaknesses, concentration is an issue not because of holding it, but because of how many concentration spells you have. Sure, you can have a Fae and an Elemental up doing their own thing, but that own thing could be hurting you and your friends. Those spells, Find Familiar and Infernal Calling, also take a really long time to get going, with 10 combat rounds passing, meaning they're not really viable on the fly. Finally, your AC is 13. Even with Foresight up, you're gonna get hit a lot. But as long as you know when to hold them and know when to fold them, you'll know when to walk away and when to run. That was another option for the intro. Conjure your favorite monsters and use them as vessels to absolutely wreck your rivals. Just make sure you're getting those cards out fast enough. Too much waiting could send you to the Shadow Realm. Thanks for watching. If you liked the video, subscribe for more. We make 2 videos every week. Be sure to vote in the poll for your favorite character from RWBY. I haven't seen it yet, so apologies if I screw up these names, but your options are Ruby, Yang, Weiss, or Blake.